This Thanksgiving, we have a lot to be thankful for. While inflation caused by the pandemic and Russia's war continues to be a challenge, we have seen important progress. And as we start preparing our Thanksgiving meals, grocery inflation is at its lowest level in over 2 years, with prices for eggs, milks, bacon, and fresh veggies lower than last year. In fact, according to the American Farm Bureau, the cost of a Thanksgiving dinner fell this year.
Yeah, you heard it there. The White House press secretary is saying that Americans should feel good. Thanksgiving dinner is cheaper this year. The American Farm Bureau says the average classic Thanksgiving dinner for 10 people will be $61.17, down from the record high in 2022. But that's still 25% higher than 2019 pre-pandemic. So let's bring in the former Congressional Budget Office Director, Douglas Holtz-Eakin. So what do you think? Should Americans feel good now that American Thanksgiving dinner is cheaper than last year?
They should feel better than they did last year. But, the reality is that over the nearly 3 full years of the Biden administration, they've barely broken even. And that's something they feel every day. And that history is something that's pulling the president down the polls every day.
So does this mean that tough choices need to be made when you talk about Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, people are still spending. We see this all the time and you hear about it. But there's some ominous signs out there. Real disposable income down since May. Savings rate down 2 percentage points since May. It's plummeting like that. People are dipping into their savings. They're running up credit card debts. That's the only way they're able to make it happen.
So to get that cheaper dinner, maybe Uncle Buck doesn't get the invite to come to dinner. Along those lines, you talk about credit card debt. We have $1 trillion in credit card debt. It keeps rising. People are using credit card debt to spend on their daily lives. But now we have a new report from Fidelity that says people are dipping into their savings to pay for some of the things like homes, your home, and some other services, healthcare. Is that concerning? Where's the breaking point, and how close are we to it?
So here's the concern. In every post-war recession, except the pandemic, it's the business community that dropped off first, that stopped spending, and then households followed after that. Business spending was dead in the water in the third quarter, going nowhere. Households have been keeping the economy afloat, and they're dipping into savings, they're running up credit card debt in order to do it. That means that somewhere out there, not too far away, there has to be a reckoning. Either the business community sort of digs into their pockets and starts spending, or we have a real problem.
And what about for the consumer, for the person? When is that breaking point? Or do you think people are just trying to hold the standard of living, which with inflation, it's the same standard of living. It's not increasing their standard.
That is exactly the problem. They're trying to hold on to the existing standard of living instead of making progress. We'd like to think that the standard of living would rise over time, and it just hasn't.
Right. One last thing. How should they handle the increased costs? In the last 30 seconds we have, how should people handle these increased costs?
You have to deal with necessities first. Prioritize them, and if it gets to big ticket items, defer them as long as you can.
Douglas Holtz-Eakin, I appreciate your insight on all of this. This is a topic that is not going to go away.
No.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.